Welcome back. It is August 8th. It is the beginning of the second week of the Every Bit Counts challenge. And today I'm going simple, I'm going easy, but useful. And that's pesto. So we have a lot of beautiful basil growing in the garden. I harvested it this morning. It's over in the sink rinsing, and I have to say, I'm really bad sometimes about washing my produce, especially from my own garden, right? Not necessarily from elsewhere, but from my own garden. And it was so much basil, and I was like, I'm so not going to do this. But I was like, no, you got to do it just in case. And so I'm so glad I did, because it's sitting over there in the bowl of water in the sink. And I think I've seen about 3 spiders come out. Mind you, that would have just been extra protein, but this is the lesson. Just wash your produce. All right, so typical pesto, and it can be made in so many ways. There's really not a real or right way. It just varies upon your taste. But typically, it's basil, so it's 5 ingredients: basil, Parmesan cheese, some kind of nut, usually pine nuts, olive oil, and garlic, right? And then you add some salt, you might add some pepper, right? But that's the typical 5 ingredient list for pesto. You can alter it with your type of greens. Sometimes I add Swiss chard as well, just to add a little extra color, really bright green color, as well as nutrition. Some people use different types of nuts. I'm actually using walnuts today, but I've done it with sunflower seeds. I've done it with pine nuts, obviously, walnuts. That's probably about it. But you can use different types of nuts. You can skip the cheese altogether, right? It's totally your call. I'm just going traditional today, but I'm using walnuts. I toasted my walnuts, and no matter what nut you use, unless it's a sunflower seed, I'd recommend you toast it. It just adds another depth of flavor that makes it really delicious. I'm gonna put everything in the food processor. I have some small jars here. I'm just gonna then spoon it into my jars and throw it in the freezer. I've already got 4 or 5 in the freezer from a batch I did a month ago. So I'm just gonna add to it so we have some beautiful pesto for the winter. That's it. It's so simple. You decide the consistency you want on your pesto. I usually, when I do it in ice cube trays, I do it a little bit thicker. But these are going to be in jars. I kind of want this ready to go. So I am doing it with a little bit more olive oil, so it's a little bit more viscous. But you'll see I just basically threw everything in. I do the garlic first, just to really get that pulverized and chopped up, and then I throw everything in. But I'm just gonna taste this. You always want to taste your pesto and make sure you like it before you freeze it. The garlic is not too overpowering. The walnuts give it a great flavor. You can see some of the walnut pieces still. It could probably use a little bit more salt. But other than that, I think it's great. So I'm gonna get these into my jars. And that's it. Lots of jars going in the freezer. See you tomorrow. Hey there, it is August 9th, Tuesday, August 9th, the second day within the second week of the Every Bit Counts challenge, and it is 7:30 at night. It has been a ridiculously long and exhausting day. And I debated on, number one, even doing anything today because I really am just kind of at my end of the day. But I didn't really want to just like miss a day. I didn't want to like pretend I did it, and I didn't want to let myself down. And also, I really just wanted to get this done, not just for the challenge, but because if I didn't do it tonight, it was just going to hang over my head tomorrow, and I got enough on my plate tomorrow. So then I was like, well, you don't have to film it, just do it and don't film it. And I was like, no, that's not even fair either. Long story short, here we are, and we are canning salsa. This is salsa ranchera. It had a recipe with eggs with the salsa. So this is the picture of the salsa right here. And so this, by the way, is on page 176 of the all new Ball Book of Canning. I haven't actually made this salsa recipe before, but I do need salsa within our pantry. I have tomatillo salsa and peach salsa, but I wanted one more just regular salsa to last us through the next 12 months. And I had all the tomatoes, I had the garlic, I had all the peppers and the onions, all from our garden to do so. So I thought it would be a great thing to do. Why I chose this recipe is because I don't actually have to blanch my tomatoes and peel them. I'm roasting them in the oven right now. So the onions, the peppers, and the tomatoes are all in the oven roasting, and then you let them cool a little bit, and then hopefully the peels slide right off. But it's basically just tomatoes, jalapenos, garlic, onions, salt, cilantro, and lime juice. That is it. I've got my food processor on the counter. I'm gonna do my steam canner. I've got my cilantro and lime juice over here. So I'm just gonna start putting it all together once they're cool from the oven and I get those skins off. But it is gonna hopefully be delicious, but very easy for canning tonight. Okay, I got all of the skins off the tomatoes. When you're doing something like this, see all this juice here, you would be tempted to like dump that down the drain, but don't do it. This is where all of your safe acid is for water bath canning or steam canning. So I am going to get some of these tomato clumps in the food processor. I'm gonna save my tomato skins and dehydrate them and then pulverize them into a powder, because it just makes for really good flavor in soups and stews this winter. 9:35, but I did it. I did it. I used my 4 jars canning lids, and I have a code down below. It's happy10. Use happy10 and get 10% off of yours. I've been using these lids for probably close to 5 months now. I learned about them back in April at the Home Centers of America conference in Tennessee, and so excited about this company. So excited to have another source for canning lids. So check them out below. Hey there, it is Wednesday, August 10th. It is the 3rd day of the 2nd week of the Every Bit Counts challenge. And I am doing something a little different today for the challenge, but just as important. This is not a harvest from our garden, but this is rather a harvest from a local farmer. We got pork. This is the 2nd year in a row that we have ordered a whole pig from a local farm, and I just got back from picking it up. So it's about 100 pounds of meat. It's actually a little bit smaller than what we had gotten last year, but we have gone through everything we got a little over a year ago. So it takes us about a year to go through one pig. I don't know the breed of the pig. I could probably find out, but all I know is it's delicious. And so I've already cleaned out some room, that top shelf there in our freezer, and I am going to try to get all this in. I've got 2 big pork bellies that we're going to turn into bacon at some point, not today. I've got a lot of ground pork to make our own sausage, and then we've got some hams, some pork butts and shoulders, and some good things. So I'm going to get all this in the freezer. Hey there, welcome back. It is Thursday, August 11th. 8, 9, 10, 11. So the 4th day of week 2, and I think about it. Before I get into my project for today, I just wanted to update and close out on a couple of things from earlier. So I've got all of my tomato skins from the salsa I made 2 days ago. They're fully dehydrated. I am going to blend them up in the powder and put them in a jar, and that way you can kind of just see that process. Also, my fermented peppers back here, these 1.5 gallons, there's 3 half-gallon jars of fermented peppers. I think they're done fermenting. They have been so active. I've had to change the water in the airlock a couple of times. I've seen so many bubbles. It's just been really active and really good. But I think they're just about done. So we're gonna strain that and make our hot sauce as well. I think that's it. So I'm gonna get those 2 things done, and then we'll get on today's project. This is just like a little mini food processor, and I'm just gonna throw these in here. Okay, so you probably saw it didn't necessarily go into a powder because of the just what I used. If I had put it in my coffee grinder or my blender, it would have gotten more into a powder. This is a jar of all of the tomato peels from last year. It smells really good. So I'm just gonna add it to this. Now again, all I'm gonna be doing is adding this into soups and stocks, maybe some tomato sauces. It's just another way not only to add the flavor, but some of the nutrients, and really nothing goes to waste. I like that part. And that's it for that. So back into the spice cabinet this goes. Okay, I wanted to be able to show you why I think they might be done fermenting. So first, this water has not risen anymore. It's pretty clear. And when I shake it, I'm not seeing any air bubbles come up here in the airlock. Now, these next 2, the water you'll see is a little cloudier, right? And that means some of the gas is coming up. But again, I'm shaking it, and I'm not seeing too many gas bubbles come up. Now, these 2, that one and this one, again, this one's risen a bit, a little cloudy. These last two probably could go, I'm seeing some bubbles come up on the side here. These probably could ferment a little bit longer. I did this on day 7. What's today? 11. So it's only been fermenting for 4 days. So I easily could let it go longer. I'm just going to strain this because it will continue to ferment a little bit over time in the refrigerator, right? Just like when you make a sauerkraut or fermented pickles and then you put them in the fridge, the fermentation process doesn't stop. It just drastically slows down with the temperature change. So I'm okay with doing that today. What I'm going to do is I have a rather large strainer and bowl, and I'm going to strain all of the pepper solids out. I'm going to reserve some of the brine because we're going to need it. Smells spicy. Smells good. So if you wanted to wait, right, and let these keep fermenting, that's perfectly okay. I probably would let them go for maybe a week or so, but at this point, I just need to get these off the counter and done. All right, before I start blending, I'm going to put some of the brine in, just a little bit, so there's some liquid here to help it blend easily. Look at how gorgeous that color is. Oh my goodness. Ooh, smells potent. I'm gonna add a splash of apple cider vinegar. Oh, I think some of the mother got in there too. And I'm gonna add a little more brine. I want it to be a little more liquidy, a little more viscous, right? So think about how you want your hot sauce to be. Do you want it really thick or do you want it runny? I want it kind of in the middle. Okay. Now this is the thing. I need to try this. I'll be honest, I'm a little scared. Whoa! Holy cannoli, that is so spicy, but oh my god, it's so good. I had like one drop. Oh, this is gonna be good. And that was only about half of the peppers. And we've got 6 cups. So I'm gonna put this in a half-gallon jar. I'm really just gonna make all my sauce and put it into a clean half-gallon jar. It might be 2, until I can get some really, I don't wanna say pretty, but more functional bottles. I'll buy some and that way I can use some of this as Christmas gifts too. But this is good. This is a gallon jar, so I ended up with a whole gallon and then about 1/4 of a gallon. I still have a lot of brine left. I am going to save some brine, maybe about 2 quarts, just because I know that before I officially bottle this for gifts or for even using for us at home, it's going to be need to blend again. It's still a little thick. It was just so much, and so I will probably have to blend it again into smaller batches. So I'm gonna save some brine in case I need it to thin it out. But I am so pleased with how this has turned out. This is the first time we've made our own fermented hot sauce, and it's just so pretty. It's pretty, it tastes good. My mouth is not on fire anymore, so it's not too overly hot. But the best part about this is that you can take this kind of method or recipe and make it what you want. You can use half hot peppers, half sweet peppers. You could add some honey or maybe some maple syrup at the end, like where I am right now. Give it more of a sweet heat. I may do that as well before bottling. I don't know yet, but play around with the flavors, add some herbs, right? You want to make sure you got your peppers, your onions, and your garlic. Those are the 3 kind of main trio that you're going to want, and then go from there and make it what you want. These are gonna go in the refrigerator. Again, look how gorgeous it is. I am so excited about this. It's the little things that get me so excited. So I need to go get on today's preservation project, but that's gonna be in the next video. Stay healthy, stay well. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you can keep seeing what we're doing over the Every Bit Counts challenge. I will see you next time.